is Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. A talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Tyler Svec. And we're going to be discussing Tyler's incredible book that he's co-written with his brother, Jordan Svec. Now the book is entitled Drake Thomas, Rise of Grimdor. Now, people, I'm telling you, there is a lot in store, and Drake Thomas is a series, okay? So there are 5 books just within this series alone, but Tyler has 9 books altogether and hopefully much more on the horizon. You're going to want to head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, but more importantly, his personal website, svecbooks.com. There, you're going to gather more information on him, on his brother Jordan, all of his books. You're also going to find a podcast that him and his brother have created, and that is called The Lazy Hunter. And trust me when I tell you, man, it's a one-stop shop, svecbooks.com. Yeah, that's where you got to go. Before I go any further, I want to quickly point out the fact that Tyler was brought to us by Citi of Books. So for my writers out there who have gone through their process, if you find yourself now at a crossroads, right? You find yourself in a precarious position because you need some assistance moving that book you just developed, head on over to citiofbooks.com and gather all of the ways that their fantastic team is going to help you do just that. And listen, it is a true pleasure to have Tyler here on the line. People, listen, man, what if you woke up one day with no memory, and everyone around you insisted you were either destined to save the world or potentially destroy it? That's the dilemma that is facing our main protagonist, Drake Thomas, okay? This is a new fantasy novel where myth and reality collide, and today we're diving into the weeds, man. We're going to talk with the author about prophecies, impossible choices, and how this story of a forgotten wasteland might actually reflect uncertainties we all face. You're going to have to dive a little deeper to get that, but I promise you the connections are there to be made. And if you want to choose to read in between the lines that way, sit back, strap in. Here we go. Tyler, welcome to People of Distinction, man, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Tyler, listen, man, we're looking forward to this. I think your book is, of course, an entertaining read, but I think there's a lot there that can be taken and really just lost in. And if for nothing else, just to have a great book to pass the time on a rainy day. Yeah, it's got that. Okay, so we're looking forward to discussing all of it, man. Let's start off at the foundation, first and foremost, and get some more backdrop on you. Who is Tyler Svec?
Me and my brother are farmers in northern Michigan, so it's not too common in the literary world, but we've always had a love for fantasy and for writing, and so we decided one day we should just try to write our own fantasy series.
Yeah.
And it's been a fun adventure.
Love that. Listen, my apologies. I forgot to mention this before, although I told it to you directly, and we don't have to go into a whole lot of it, but as a parent myself, man, I want to pay it forward. People, this is an extra special interview because Tyler just welcomed a new addition to the family. So let's enjoy what we're about to discuss, but also understand that as beautiful of a time that this is, and of course, congratulations. It wasn't that long ago that I was there, and my goodness, I'm sure this man is sleep deprived, okay? Tyler, again, congratulations on the new edition, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Let's jump right in, man. Drake Thomas, Rise of Grimdor. Tell us more about the book.
The book is probably along the lines of anybody who really enjoys your Aragon-type books or your Lord of the Rings-type books. It's geared towards that high fantasy. Lots of background, lots of history, but we try to make sure that it always pertains to the story so you don't have 10 pages of stuff that doesn't matter. And so that's the main focus of it. And it was just to have really good adventure, but do some things differently.
Okay, let's dive a little bit more into inspiration now. As you mentioned a moment ago, background is in farming. So you and your brother, you're farmers, man. And I love the fact that you made that leap to creative writing, but what inspired it?
Well, we got tired of other stories. We had read a few fantasy stories, and we were like, that is the stupidest way they could have done that, or that's a stupid ending for it. So ultimately, it came out of, let's just see if we can write something better.
I heard that. Listen, some people, sometimes if you're just not finding what you need, best bet is to just create it yourself. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in this genre, elves are always like the super wise ones, and half the time I think they're a bunch of snobs and I want to shove them off the cliff. We definitely tried to play with the stereotypes and switch it up as we started writing this series.
Okay. So let's get to something a little bit more grounded here. And I think I may be reaching with this and trying to formulate connections that may not necessarily be there or were part of that process. But entertain me here and let's try this out. I'm curious to know, because your main protagonist, listen, he wakes up, has no memory of who he is, yet others define him. Now, we can correlate that to today, and we have all been labeled, whether we like it or not. We receive labels sometimes. I'm curious to know, have you ever felt personally like people projected expectations onto you before you even figured them out for yourself?
Sometimes. In the case of Drake Thomas's character, it was really more, we just thought it better suited the story if he didn't know, because sometimes you end up with perfect characters who know everything, can have all the answers to the problems, and we didn't want that. We wanted him to have to rely on other people and to work with other people in the hopes that he might remember his memory as the story goes forward. He might not. It was an element of faith. He had to trust the people with him, and that's what we wanted to portray.
You mentioned before, Tyler, the connection to, or the similarities rather, to these epic novels, Lord of the Rings and so many others that are, of course, very popular, have been, but in recent times have really become embedded in pop culture. I love those stories as well. And I also understand the mountain of work that goes into constructing the world around it, right? Again, these are epic novels. Your book, of course, is divided into multiple novels yourself. Talk to us about the writing process that you and Jordan had in developing the world and developing all of the characters, making it that epic journey, but also, I don't even want to say believable, because I think believable is the wrong word, but I guess making it relatable and entertaining. What was that writing process like for you all?
Yeah, it was an interesting endeavor, because when you do go into this genre, it is typically a lot of history and stuff like that. So we work together during the day as well. So for us, the writing process looks like I'd start writing, and then I'd stop writing, and I'd come to him and say, hey, we need to figure this out, and I need to know by tonight. And then 30 minutes later, we had a great conversation, and only about 2 minutes of it ever got used in the book. But that was just how we did it. And like we've been doing, this series has been going for 11 years. So it's been quite a fun thing to do over the years. And we tried to make sure it's still focused on the personal aspect of it, but we wanted to be able to explore and expand on the setting that he was in.
People, I'm telling you, again, the book is called Drake Thomas, Rise of Grimdor. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. It's a lot of other places, but make sure to check out the personal website, svecbooks.com. There's other books in this series and so much more. I'm telling you, one-stop shop, svecbooks.com. Head on over there and get lost in all of it. Tyler, I'm curious to know, this is really just like a personal curiosity. It's not even necessarily something for the listening audience, although I think people can benefit and relate from it as well. Everybody knows People of Distinction was initially begun by my father. And I remember when we first began working with one another, it was exciting. It was a great honor, of course, to continue this creation that he had begun. But there was some clashes, right? You're working with someone that you're so closely tied to, trying to balance the familiar relationship with the professional relationship can sometimes create some tension. I'm curious to know, because you're doing this, and this is not the only book that you've written with Jordan. I know you've written some by yourself as well, but Talk to us about that dynamic of working with your brother. Has it always been something seamless that you guys have been able to do, or have there been some moments of some clashing? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, there's always been some moments where I think we should do it this way, and I think we should do it this way.
Right.
And a few of those instances, I've pulled rank and said, I'm writing the book, I'm doing it this way. But that doesn't happen too often. Most times we were able to talk and persuade each other one way or the other on it. It was a really good experience and fun writing with my brother.
Listen, we've talked about Rise of Grimdor. I know that there are a lot of others in this series. Please, dealer's choice here. I'd love to hear more about another one. It could be in the Drake Thomas series, or you could touch up on another book completely aside from this series. But take it away whenever you're ready. Myself, my listening audience, we're all ears.
I've actually got 3 series that I've written. So this one is written with my brother, and it's 5 books. And then I've got another one. It's called Crunch. And that's basically, I got sick of superheroes, so I decided to write a superhero book. But it's a satire comedy. I thought to myself, okay, if you give Tony Stark way too much caffeine, a microphone, and told you to tell him his life story, what would you get? And so the style is a bit like Forrest Gump. It's from a first-person narrative, and it's him rambling through his life with all these amusing stories that you might think don't connect, but somehow in the end, they all do connect. And it flips superheroes on their heads, and I think you'll get a good laugh out of it. So that was a lot of fun for that one. And then my other series is called the Kingdom Trilogy, and that's a sci-fi dystopian. So a guy buys a cabin, it takes him to another world. I guess it's portal fantasy is what they call it. And it's a fun adventure between 2 worlds.
People, I'm telling you, what a way to plug a book, man. Listen, if you're not intrigued, you're clearly asleep. I don't know what's happening for you. You got to head on over and pick up copies. Remember, the anchor for today, we really focused on the Drake Thomas series. More importantly, Rise of Grimdor, which is the first one in that epic series. But you're going to want to check out a whole lot more that he has to offer, especially that superhero series. Man, there's something here for everyone, all right? It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble. Make sure to check out svecbooks.com. Check out the podcast that him and his brother are developing as well. It's something you're going to want to get lost in. Tyler, this has been a true pleasure, man. An absolute delight. Once again, thank you for being a guest with People of Distinction.
And thank you for having me.